How's it going, family? Powerful I am. You got 50 the Mystic. As promised, coming in with a bit of a banger. The death of Jesus. Covering this one through my mystical lens. Now I see it to be. It's a bit of a banger. It's going to be a bit of a different way that most are used to interpreting it. Be looking at a lot of the symbolism and allegory that one is able to identify in here. We're going to start off in Mark 15, verse 33. We're skipping the crucifixion and all of that. We're going straight to the death. The crucifixion is very important in itself. Maybe I'll cover it at a time just to make you understand it in essence. About the skull of Golgotha and all of that, and what the meaning of Golgotha is, and where the crucifixion in itself happens overall, that it happens in the mind. But for now, I want to focus on the death of Jesus. I feel like this is a pivotal moment in itself when this happens. It's that moment in one's own life when nothing seems to be going right, when everything is being shattered, the entire illusion, the fabric of your life is being disturbed and destructed to point you to a higher truth so that the resurrection can happen within you yourself. Yes, I do not believe the resurrection is unique to other people. I believe it's something that must happen within you. Like a phoenix, you must burn and burn away the old self so that the new you can be born from the ashes of the fire. But let's get right into Mark 15, verse 33. And when the 6th hour was come, there was darkness over the whole land until the 9th hour. Now let's decipher this from my perspective. This in itself, as I said in the intro, represents the collapse of external light at the very point where light should be strongest. Darkness arriving at midday is not a natural event. It is an interruption of order itself. Midday symbolizes peak, clarity, the number 12 in essence, midday. Certainty, authority, and conscious control. When darkness covers this moment, it reveals the failure of surface understanding and inherited belief systems. What once made sense no longer works. The mind reaches the limits of what it can explain, manage, or justify. This is when you start realizing the world is more than what people have taught you. It's more than simple logic. Cover it one day. How about tithing? In the Bible is actually talking about tithing, the lower recesses of your mind. Tithing the carnal mind that people call it as well at times, which is your left hemisphere of the brain, the logical mind, and giving it to the right hemisphere. And now we're looking at, in this lens itself, darkness is not necessarily evil or punishment. It is concealment for transformation. It signals the withdrawal of borrowed meaning to the authentic understanding can emerge from within. This is the stripping of identity that was built on external validation, social structure, or spiritual second-hand knowledge. Darkness becomes the womb where false certainty dies. The covering of the whole land signifies total involvement of the inner world. This is not a localized struggle. Thought, emotion, memory, instinct, identity, and ancestral patterning are all pulled in the same moment of suspension. The land represents the field of consciousness, the terrain where habits, reactions, and beliefs live. When darkness covers the whole land, nothing within the self is exempt from examination or refinement. You are literally being purged from the inside out. What is remaining after that will be your truth. You are faced with your inner essence. You are faced to confront that which is you. The duration of the darkness carries symbolic completeness. It lasts long enough to exhaust resistance, but not so long as to destroy purpose. This represents the necessary season where the ego can no longer rush outcomes, demand answers, or escape discomfort. Control dissolves. Surrender becomes unavoidable. The funny part, once you get to this point of surrender, when you release it all, that's when everything starts working again. It shows you that this need, this insufferable need to control things and control outcomes, is a fallacy. Surrender it all. You just focus on the best you can do in the moment all the time. This moment encodes the law of inner initiation. Before rebirth, there is unknowing. Before resurrection, there is descent. This allegory teaches that transformation does not occur through constant illumination, but through the courage to remain present when clarity disappears. Darkness here signals not abandonment but transition. Outer light fades so inner perception can awaken. What appears as loss is actually reorganization. Only those who endure this internal eclipse emerge with embodied truth rather than borrowed belief. It's the point of your becoming. In business, I like to liken it onto for people who are in business. This is the moment before your breakthroughs finally come through. When all is dark, when the old you is being purged away because something bigger is on the way. You need to get through this phase. Learn the lesson. Learn to surrender. And all will follow back to you again. The darkness described in this moment maps directly onto a critical process within the mind and the body itself. It represents the temporary shutdown of higher conscious certainty. When the mind reaches a point where logic, belief systems, and identity structures can no longer make sense of experience, the prefrontal cortex loses dominance. This is the region responsible for meaning making, planning, moral reasoning, and narrative control. As it quiets, the brain enters a liminal state where familiar cognitive maps dissolve. At the same time, deeper systems activate. The limbic system and brainstem, which govern emotion, survival, memory, and ancestral imprinting, come to the surface. This is why such moments feel heavy, disorienting, and bodily rather than intellectual. Everything is bubbling to the surface all at once. It's not meant to break you, but it's meant to purify. The darkness in itself is not just mental, it is somatic. The body feels it as pressure, fatigue, slowing, and withdrawal of energy from outward engagement. This mirrors a nervous system shift from sympathetic drive into a suspended parasympathetic state. Breath becomes shallow, slow, muscles soften, and the body enters a forced stillness. This is not collapse, but containment. The system is being held in order to reset, just as deep sleep is required for neural integration. This inner darkness allows fragmented psychological material to reorganize beneath awareness. The land being covered symbolizes total bodily involvement. Hormones, neural pathways, memory storage, and instinctual responses are all engaged. No system remains untouched. This is the body acknowledging that old patterns can no longer carry the load. Crucially, this phase precedes integration, or the resurrection, as some would call it in terms of stories of the Bible. After such neurological quieting, new coherence can emerge. The brain rewires, the nervous system recalibrates, and perception becomes cleaner. The anatomy teaches that breakdown of conscious control is sometimes necessary for higher order regulation to form. This darkness is therefore not dysfunction. It is deep biological intelligence at work, pausing the mind so the whole system can rely on itself around a more truthful internal center. The darkness covering the land mirrors the principles found in nature and cosmos itself, illustrating that the inner human processes are governed by the same universal laws that maintain order in all of existence. In natural systems, cycles of light and dark, growth and rest, tension and release are essential in themselves. Just as the sun rises and sets to regulate life, and storms or droughts reset ecosystems, the darkness represents a necessary pause in the human field, a period where external control fails so that internal equilibrium can be restored. This darkness is vibration and action. Every process in the universe, from planetary orbits to atomic resonance, relies on precise timing and law. The covering of the land is a reflection of these immutable rhythms. When the human system is overextended, chaotic, or misaligned, the universe enforces a period of stillness. Like gravitational pull, guiding planets, or tidal cycles, shaping oceans, this pause is corrective, ensuring coherence and alignment with natural law. The episode also encodes the principle of polarity. Light and dark, activity and rest, consciousness and unconsciousness are complementary. Darkness is not absence, it is the necessary counterbalance that allows for growth, reflection, and recalibration. Without it, patterns break, cycles stagnate, and emergence cannot occur. Additionally, the event reflects cause and effect. Misalignment, resistance, or unresolved inner chaos naturally brings pressure and suspension, and it literally forces you to deal with this internally within yourself. The longer you take, the more pressure it will apply until you finally acknowledge the truth that sits within you. The darkness represents the inevitable response of the cosmos to imbalance, a momentary collapse of external certainty so that the internal system can self-correct. Ultimately, this moment demonstrates that human life is never separate from universal law. The rhythms of the cosmos are mirrored in the mind, body, and collective consciousness. Enduring the darkness is surrendering to these laws, allowing internal reorganization, coherence, and the restoration of natural order to occur, preparing the field for renewed clarity and action. This moment of darkness teaches a direct lesson for daily life. Progress and clarity require periods of suspension, stillness, and endurance. When external certainty disappears, plans fail, relationships shift, or outcomes stall. It is not a sign of weakness or abandonment. It is a natural signal that your internal systems need realignment. Just as the darkness forced the land to pause, you too must create intentional pauses in action, thought, and emotional reactivity to allow your mind, body, and spirit to recalibrate. This can look like creating daily moments of reflection or stillness, stepping away from external noise, or slowing down decision making during times of confusion. It also calls for observing emotional reactions and all patterns without immediately acting on them, allowing insight to arise naturally rather than forcing solutions. In essence, you are learning to move with law, not against it. The darkness also emphasized the importance of boundaries and internal authority. External pressures, opinions, or societal expectations may try to fill the void. But this verse shows that the highest guidance comes from within. Treat your inner voice as the authority during moments of uncertainty. Pause, listen, and allow your nervous system and cognition to stabilize before acting. Finally, this moment teaches patience with transformation. Growth is rarely linear. Periods of internal darkness precede breakthroughs, recalibration, and emergence. By embracing these pauses rather than resisting them, you align with natural and cosmic law. It reduces the unnecessary suffering that will come through you not surrendering Him, and prepare the way for more coherent, intentional, and powerful action. Enduring the darkness becomes a tool, not a trial, an opportunity to reorganize life around clarity, alignment, and purpose. Now, in the next segment, we take it even deeper. Now we start going into where panic sets in and what the resulting aspect of it is, because everyone reaches this pivotal point when it goes dark. Mark 15 verse 34, and at the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice. 9, by the way, is the number of consciousness. Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which is being interpreted, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Not our God, but he is seeking answers from his God, who is within him. This is the moment when you need to listen to the internal voice within you. Let's look at the death of Jesus as a moment of surrender, when you give in to the force within you that is greater than you. Now, in the next section, we'll be covering this first. Till next time, friends, stay safe, stay blessed.